Hi, it's Carter, man. President of Constitutional Rights PAC. Got my working man's hat on here because I want to distinguish myself from the conservative Inc. organizations in Washington that have been strangely silent, maybe not so strangely, on the catastrophe, the horror perpetrated in Moscow by the terrorists yesterday. Maybe they're waiting to see which way their donors are going to fall before they say anything. Well, we're not doing that. Wrong is wrong, and it should be condemned as wrong right from the get-go. And that's what we're going to do, and that's what we have been doing. This is my third social media post on this critical topic. And this is an update. It's an update because of events that have occurred since the last one that are bothersome. I'm just going to say that they're bothersome. First of all, the Kirby statement. You know, this Kirby guy is maybe the most transparent liar I've ever seen in over 40 years in Washington, and I've seen a lot of liars. I remember I worked with the politicians in the Senate and in the White House and everywhere else. But this man is just horrific. He just seems to lie as a matter of course. And as when he came out after the terrorist attack, immediately blamed ISIS. There was no way they could know it was ISIS, and it increasingly looks like it wasn't. I'll cover that in a minute. Then, in one of the most ungracious acts I've seen, blamed the terrorist attack on how unpopular Putin is and unrest in Russia. There is no unrest in Russia, and Putin just got elected with 87% of the vote. Before anyone tries to tell you, yeah, but they had to vote for him, all the polls taken by American pollsters in the month leading up to the election showed that, yeah, 87% of the people, 85 to 90% of the people in that country love the guy. He's not a Joe Biden. So that was incredible. It was essentially it was another lie. And then, of course, it concluded by saying our thoughts are with the Russian people. Our thoughts don't do much good. I remember when we would say our prayers, or maybe our thoughts and prayers, but not the Biden White House and not this Kirby character. So that's number one. The lie about ISIS and the lie about that it was Russians who hated Putin. That's a ghastly thing to do. It's a ghastly thing to do. Then we have to look deeper. And none of us know exactly what happened and why it happened and who did it. Okay? But we have to look at some patterns here, don't we? We have to look at patterns. We're not stupid. We have a situation, and I've covered this before, but I want to say it again because I'm reaching for my papers here. It's so important. This woman here, this nasty, vile Victoria Nuland, look at that countenance. You know, Abraham Lincoln said we're all responsible for our own face after we're 40. He didn't say our features, but he was referring to the countenance. That's the countenance of a sick woman, very sick woman. And how far has her sickness gone? Well, we know she was the one largely responsible for the Maidan revolution that overthrew the elected government of Ukraine in 2014. There she is handing out cookies, celebrating the overthrow of an elected government so we could install a puppet government. Not the way America is supposed to do things, not the way America is supposed to do things. But let's bring it up to date now. Let's get right to the terrorist attack now. And let me give you some dates, okay? Draw your own conclusions. So let me give you some dates. January 31st, Nuland met with Zelensky, had a rush trip over to meet with Zelensky. came out and went before the press, and with that evil smile on her face said, well, we're going to have some nasty surprises for Mr. Putin coming up. Some nasty surprises. That was January 31st. On February 24th, she repeated it, but added something. In a speech to CSIS. Rather, on February 28th, she repeated it and added the word an asymmetric nasty surprise. Asymmetric nasty surprise. Asymmetric warfare is terrorism. It's another word for terrorism. So in late February, she said, we've got an asymmetric nasty surprise for Mr. Putin. Shortly thereafter, about a week or so, she was removed from office. She was removed from office. You have to wonder why. It was all of a sudden. It wasn't gracious. There was nothing gracious about it. She didn't make a departing statement. I'm retiring. It's been wonderful. Get out. Get your stuff and get out. You have to wonder why. Did she let a cat out of the bag she wasn't supposed to? Just asking. Just asking, because 2 days later, the United States warned the residents, Americans in Russia, to stay away from public gatherings because there might be a terrorist attack, specifically mentioning concerts. Specifically mentioning concerts. Now we have this. Is it all of a piece? I don't know. I don't know. But somebody has to ask. Somebody has to ask, what the hell's going on here? What the hell's going on here? Then the United States comes out today, finally, Kirby once again. Ukraine, we know Ukraine had nothing to do with it. Ukraine. Well, that's funny because as the FSB, Russia's used to be the KGB, has said, the 4 terrorists apprehended headed straight for the Ukrainian border. They were heading straight for the Ukrainian border. There's no way at that point for the United States to be able to make a definitive statement like that, but they did. And now let me add one more thing for you. The United States is claiming it's ISIS. If so, they were very atypical ISIS terrorists, because normally Muslim terrorists love to go down as martyrs, don't they? They love to stand there shouting Allah Akbar while they go to get their 72 virgins or whatever it is. And there was none of that this time. Islamic terrorists usually don't have a car waiting for an escape, especially not to Ukraine. All right, just bringing it up, just think it over.